One of the most challenging things about living in my car is not the lifestyle itself, but it's just wondering what others will think of me for doing this. Will my friends like me less? Will my coworkers think I'm incompetent? Will people feel sorry for me? Although obviously I share my story on YouTube, I have been a bit shy to tell people I know in the real world that I live in my car, and so far I've only told one friend and my immediate family. I wouldn't deny it if it came up or if somebody asked me directly, but I do like to keep it private as you never know what kind of reaction you're going to get. At the beginning, I would say that my family was not particularly supportive of this decision as they couldn't really understand it. Like I did, I'm sure they had many preconceived notions about what it means to live in your car, and they're just accustomed to living in a regular living situation, so they just didn't really know what to make of it. However, I did ease them into the idea that I lived in my car because at first I thought it would just be a temporary situation as well. I had a house that I had sublet for the summer thinking I would be away, and then I ended up being back in town and didn't have another place. Although I looked a little bit on Craigslist to find a sublet for myself, I didn't find much, and I realized that I might as well just stay in my car. The longer I stayed in my car, the more I liked it, and I realized that I didn't really have any incentive to return to my house after the subletters moved out, so by then I got another set of subletters to take over through the end of the lease. My mom would say towards the beginning that she hated that I lived in my car, although not too forcefully, but she would encourage me to find a house or apartment. Although the more she did that, I would really be able to respond and explain the reasons why there was no downside to living in the car and why I actually really liked it. I think at this point she can understand it and she'll acknowledge that she can see the fun of it to some extent, but I never know on a particular day how she'll feel about it. My sister, I've also told her the same thing, that I like it and that there's a lot of benefits to it, and she will still send me like apartment listings and things like that sometimes, but she's not overly pushy about it either, and I really do my best to explain to them why I like it. My dad, I don't think, has directly told me to move, but I've also just explained to him the benefits of it, and he hasn't really attempted to get me to change my ways. My family also knows that I have a steady job, a good income, a regular social life, so I think they can see that and realize that maybe I'm right and that it is okay to live in my car and do things a little bit differently. I also keep an open mind. I don't dig my heels in and say I'm always going to live in my car. I know that if my circumstances changed or if I got tired of living in my car, I would move, and they're aware of that too. Also, they do live in a different state and they have their own busy lives, so I think in part they're just not really thinking about it all the time either. I was pretty nervous to tell this one friend that I lived in my car as I really didn't know how he would react, and part of me did think that maybe he would totally ditch me as a friend or it would change his entire opinion of me. So I explained it, and I was really surprised actually that he accepted it without many questions about it, and he actually thought that it was a reasonably smart thing to do and could see why it was a good loophole to avoid rent and just live life a little bit differently. I do anticipate that the longer I do this, the more people I will have to tell that I live in my car. It does make me pretty nervous still to think what my friends might think, but I'm definitely willing to take that risk, and it's important to me to be honest about this. I hope my friends are the kind of people that will be open-minded and not let this affect their opinion of me, but I feel like it's more important to do what's right for me than to be forced to live in a house or apartment that I'm not getting benefit out of just because others expect me to do so. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being one of the supportive people about this. I really appreciate that, and I'll see you next time.